Hello and good evening. Welcome to today's edition of Marriage Talk here in Reverend Peter Memorial Methodist Church, Osu Akwaje. You are welcome. And today is another special. It's a beautiful day and it's a special day. And we want you all to be part of this program. If you have questions, you can post it to Facebook rpkdmmc, YouTube rpkdmmc. You see, you can post all your questions and all that you want to ask, you can ask. Today's topic is marriage vows. We are coming to talk about marriage vows. You've heard marriage vows. People come to the altar and they said it is the pastor who asked me to say after him. And so the vows that I said, it is not my vows. It is the pastors who has asked me to say it. And I said it. So if anything comes, they will blame the pastor. Today, we are happy. I'm happy, and I know you are also happy that we have our Reverend Minister here, and our Justice is also here. They are going to explain everything to us. They are going to give us the details of this topic that we have chosen. So without wasting much time, I would like to introduce my program and our own very Reverend Dr. Samuel Nimai Olenu, a marriage counselor and a chaplain at the Methodist University College, is here with us to help us, go deep into the topic. Daddy, please, you are welcome. Yes, you are welcome. And again, we have our very own, this one there, she needs no introduction, but we have to introduce her also. So she is our own Justice Efia Asabuche. You know her, yes. Appeal court judge, a marriage counselor, and a member of this church. Please, let's welcome. And so, if I would say, gentleman and a lady, you are welcome once again. So, to set the ball rolling, I will ask, when we talk about marriage vows, what are we talking about? I want Osofo to help us with this. Yes, Daddy.
Okay, to start with, the Methodist University, not Methodist University College.
University.
Yes,
college.
Just university, because we've charted.
Oh, okay.
So no more college. Just
no more college.
Methodist University.
Methodist University. So you heard the director. Daddy, you are the director.
I'm the chaplain.
The chaplain, yes. The chaplain has said it. So
yes, and also a lecturer, a senior lecturer as well.
A senior lecturer.
As well.
He has said it, so he has corrected me. Thank you, Papa. Yes. I'm grateful.
When we speak about vows, marriage vows, they have different wordings across the different Christian traditions. But at the end of the day, they are saying the same things. The elements are the same, and then they also want to achieve the same goal. So you would have, it's in various sections. You have the legal, declaration, where you are charged before God and the people to see whether there is any impediment why you should not be joined together. And if there is no impediment, then you state it. And then after that, you are also told to look at the man and see whether you are going to take him, and if it's the wife, you take her to be your lawful, wedded partner, because it's going to be both man and woman, in the estate of matrimony. And you are asked whether you would want to comfort him, you want to honor him or her, and you would want to forsake all others, to keep faithfully to such an one. Yeah. And if you would want to, then you will say, I will. And this is the first part of the vow, which the lawyers will say the legal declaration. Yes. Then we go to the standard vow, where you would see people say, I call upon these persons here present to witness that I, then you mention your name, take you, then you mention the partner's name, to be my wedded wife or husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death shall separate us according to God's holy law. And to this I pledge myself. So these are the two basic elements, or the two basic parts of the vows that are said, during wedding.
So the vow is it according to the Bible? Or that they said, is it according to is it biblical? Or is it that you said?
Yes, it is biblical and legal.
Okay.
Because you are asked to declare, and the legal people will tell you are making an oath, and it has legal implications. Because you could be punished according to law if you break the vow and then you go behind your husband or your wife to do something where you commit bigamy, and so you can be punished. So it is both legal and spiritual, in the sense that you are making the vow before God. And when we come to speak about the witnesses, I call upon persons here to witness. There are several witnesses involved, spiritual and physical. And remember, when we are starting the wedding service, we pray and we ask the Lord to be in our midst. Okay. And where 2 or 3 are gathered, Jesus says, I am in their midst. Yes. So Jesus is there. And that makes the vow spiritual, Okay. And if you go to Ecclesiastes, it also speaks about not foolishly vowing before God. Okay. So it is spiritual.
It is spiritual, yes, and yes. It is biblical.
Of course.
And Tefia, when Doug was talking, he talked about oath, and he made mention of them when you go to the legal people. So in the legal sense, what do you also have to tell us?
In the legal sense, we would refer to the vow as an oath. The reason why it's an oath is because it has serious legal implications. Okay. And first of all, even if you look at the Oaths Act, so long as a certificate is going to be issued or an official document is going to be issued after the event, this is an official legal process. Okay. So if you look at the marriage certificate that we are issued in church, it's the same marriage certificate that you take to the embassy. It's the same marriage certificate you take to do your passport, to gazette, to do everything. It's a serious legal document. And that is also the reason why the person who administers the oath is also supposed to be of a certain caliber. So we, the people called Methodists, you realize that when someone has been commissioned as a minister, but the person is yet to be ordained, when we are having the service, maybe the commissioned minister will do a lot of things. But when it comes to the administering of the oath, you will find that we want an ordained minister to do it. Because by the time of the ordination, the church will gazette the ministers who are ordained. Okay. So they are registered at the Registrar General's as people who can administer the oath. And then that's why commissioned ministers don't bless, or they don't bless marriages in the church. That's the reason. Okay. Now these have serious implications, because that is what makes the difference between the incidents of a customary marriage and the incidents of a marriage under the ordinance. So when I hear people talking on social media, talking about how they are married under the ordinance, but they want to choose to marry second wife, I laugh in capital letters. I just know they don't know what they are talking about. Because there is a certain implication that once the oath is administered by a duly authorized officer, a certificate is issued, and then you want to do anything else, like contract another marriage, whether it is customary or ordinance, that's why you can go to prison for 3 years for it.
Oh.
Maximum 3 years, you can go to prison for it.
Okay.
So that's the difference. For us, it is a very legal process. So if you look at those who are married in church and who go and file the document before they come, and those who walk into a courtroom to marry, they all have the same implications.
Okay.
So whether you can say, oh, we only married at church, it's the same as the person who goes to the office of the Registrar General or to a magistrate and has the oath administered in the court. It's the same document. It's the same thing.
Okay. But of late, you realize that there are some churches, when we're talking, we talk about the ministers have been gazetted. Is that
Yes.
what you're right? Yes. So of late, you see a lot of ministers around, and then they are marrying people. And they said it's the right thing. What would you say about that?
Actually, the law, if you
so
look
the
at
minister and the church.
you look at the minister and then you look at the place.
Okay.
So if you look at this church, it's gazetted. So the place is also important. Then the person administering the oath is also important. So if you do it in the classroom, you know sometimes people have services in the classroom and the rest. That one does not serve the legal purpose. And then also, if you are going to have a garden, wedding, and all those things, there are other legal requirements that you must comply with. So if, for instance, somebody wants to have a garden, wedding, and all those fashionable things that people are doing these days, then you should be looking for a special license, because you must have a licensed minister and a licensed place of worship. Okay. Before the process will receive legal recognition. Okay. But whatever it is of great importance to note that when we come here and the oath or vow is being administered, it is not a place for play and shouting and screaming. And you know, sometimes shouting and screaming as if you are, it is a place for entertainment. And sometimes, you know, when it comes to these places, and the Reverend Minister said that this is a very solemn occasion. It's just like appearing before a court and taking the oath before you testify. It's the same thing. Oh, okay. So it's not something that we are here to play. No, it's not a playing matter. Oh, okay. Because if you do not abide by the oath, there are serious legal implications for it.
What are some of the serious implications?
For instance, like I said, that vow, that oath, is the difference between the incidents of a customary marriage and the incidents of a marriage under the ordinance. So if you marry customarily, for instance, nobody promises you that they are marrying you to the exclusion of all others. Okay. But if you look at what Reverend Dr. Olenu just said, he recited it and said to the exclusion of all others. Mm-hmm. So the exclusivity contract in the marriage vow, in the oath, is present in the marriage under the ordinance, in the oath. It's not present in the customary law. Okay. So when somebody comes and says that my husband has gone to marry another woman and I'm upset, I would ask the person, how did you contract the marriage? If you contracted the marriage under the ordinance and you said those vows, and you have a certificate and all the filing was done, then that person is borderline on the way to prison. Okay. But if it is just a customary marriage, and I mean no disrespect for customary marriages at all, but I'm saying that the incidents are different. If you just constructed the customary marriage without any other, then the person has the potential to marry any number. So that's why you pray for them. But it's not police station matter.
Okay.
I hope you understand.
Yes,
and then with that, even the mode of divorce will be different.
Okay.
Because if you marry under customary law, you just go and take the drinks, you give it to them, you return your Bible and ring, you are done. But if after the customary marriage, you also went and took this oath, like we are talking about, then when it's time for you to go your separate ways, you have to go to court first for a court to pronounce the divorce before you can consider yourself divorced. And that is why when people have been separated for a long time and they want to remarry, we ask the question, have you gone through the process of having an actual divorce, or is one of the spouses dead before you can contract another one? Because the law says that, like the oath said, till we are separated by death. So it is either separation by death or a properly constituted court giving the divorce.
Okay.
If not, then if you go ahead and say that we've been separated for any number of years and I want to remarry, you are still in a bigamous relationship. So you, the man who is married to the woman, can be charged, and the person who also married you can be charged.
Can be charged. Wow. Yes. Daddy, and I want to ask, the marriage vows in the church, do we have others? Like we have another vows that we say, apart from the one, the constituted one that we normally say. Is there any other ones?
No, we don't. When it comes to wedding, we don't have any. But if you want your marriage to be blessed, then there is, in fact, it's similar, but except that one has no legal backing. Okay. But this one, under the Cap 127, has the legal backing, and it is just what I have outlined. And you asked previously that is it biblical, and I just want to add this biblical inscription to it. Okay. If you read Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 1 and 4, there it says that guard your steps when you go to the house of God. Go near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifices. When you make a vow to God, do not delay in fulfilling it. He has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vows.
Fulfill your vows.
Yes. Okay. So, when you go into the presence of the Lord, like you come to church like this, and you are coming to make your vows, it is actually before God, because God is here.
Yes.
And the Bible supports what we are doing. And what you have to say is what has been stipulated. And it is expected that you will take what is being said as your own. Not that yourself we just say I do. That is not the issue. Okay. You are taking it. That is why when we say I, then you mention your name to indicate that you are making that vow your own. And what has been written out is what is used all the time.
But Doc, our younger ones, or some of us, we want to write our own vows and then be saying it to the one we want to marry. And they said, oh, this one is for me, not the one that the Osofo is saying. You see, that one too is not.
If it is for you, then marry yourself. Why don't you, conduct the wedding for yourself? But once the wedding is going to be conducted by a legally accredited person, there are vows, words that you must pronounce. It's like you go to the court and they said, say this after me. He said, no, I'll say something else. Nobody will agree to that one.
Oh, okay.
So I remember there was a time that, when we're saying the vows, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, then the person said, no, for better, for best, and then for richer and for richest. We said no. If you are not ready to say it, then we are stopping the marriage ceremony because you are not conforming to the stipulated wording of the vow that makes it binding and legally and spiritually accepted.
But some are also saying that this one is a cake.
Well, you see, Jesus says that heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will never pass away. You know, when they are saying for better, for best, they are saying that when the situation gets bad, they will run away.
Okay.
That's what it means.
Okay.
So for saying for better, for worse, it means that whether you get better or you get worse, I'll be there for you. Whether you get richer or you get poorer, I'll be there for you.
Okay.
We are going to marry now. We are all working. But it could happen that one of us will lose his or her job. Okay. And you are saying that as soon as I lose my job, you will leave me. Now we are going to marry. We are all healthy. Then something happens and then I become incapacitated. You are saying that when that happens, you are going to leave me. Is that what you want to do? Then you are not a trustworthy partner.
Okay.
It's not even worth, you are not marriage worthy.
Okay.
You are not marriage worthy. If this is the thinking, then you are not marriage worthy. You are not yet ready to marry because marriage has ups and downs, and you should be prepared to declare that whether it is up, you'll be there. Whether it is down, you'll be there. No matter the circumstance, come what may, you are going to be with your partner. That is the essence of the vows we are saying. Not that somebody is saying that when you say so, then you are bringing a curse on yourself. No. You are rather declaring, before God and man, that no matter what happens, because you don't know God's mind, no matter what happens, I'm going to stick to you. That is the essence of the vow. Otherwise, I would say that you are not marriage worthy if you want to say your own thing.
Wow.
There's this thing that many people copy without understanding. People will say that I saw this in this country, that country. In a lot of jurisdictions, they do not mix the civil or legal aspects of marriage with the church. So sometimes by the time you see them on TLC and all those things that you see, they would have done the civil and gone to court and done the court marriage already.
Okay.
And then they come and do the church event.
Okay.
So what you see with somebody writing their vows and reading it, you are my best friend and all those things that you people say.
Of late it's been
it's probably because they would have even gone to court and done what needs doing already.
Okay.
So it's like that. For instance, I have always advised people, if you intend to do a garden wedding and all those things, you go to the marriage registry and marry maybe the Thursday before. So by the time you see that garden wedding and all those things they are reading, they would have gone to the marriage registry and done the legal bit already. And we should be very much aware of that. But the elements, as Reverend has stated them, this vow is exactly the same oath that you would recite if you went to the office of the Registrar General and had the marriage. It's the same thing. There you don't go and read what you've written, your love letter, all that, no. It's exactly the same thing, what we say in church, that we have at the marriage registry. The same thing.
And also
so it means that they only come and read their own vows just for the camera.
Oh, okay.
Just for the camera.
Okay, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but so you see, somebody will say that when we went to the altar, the pastor said, and I also followed. So that they do as the oath the pastor said. So if in case anything happens, that's what they say. They say that then you're suffering in a kind of meeting. So it is Osofo who said it. What will you say about this so that those who are watching us and those who are listening will get it?
Yes, in the beginning I stated that in the vow, it is said, I. Then you mention your name. By mentioning your name, you are making the vow your own.
Okay.
You are owning the vow. Then, by mentioning your partner's name, then he said, I take you. Then you mention her name. It means that you are separating this person from all other persons. And this vow is to this particular person. Your own vow, you are making to this particular person. So once you go through that vow, you cannot say that Osofo just said it and I said it, because Osofo didn't mention your name for you. You mentioned your name, and you mentioned your partner's name as well. And so it is your vow.
It's your vow.
And just a little addition. Whenever any vow or any oath is going to be taken, somebody administers it.
Okay.
Every time. Even when we are being sworn in, the president will say whatever, and we also read after him. It's the same. If you go to court and you are about to testify, the court clerk will administer the oath. You will say it after the person, but you, like Papa said, you mention your name, I, and then you mention the name, and then you repeat after the person. Now, when you are an adult of full age and understanding, and I always say this, an adult, you are over 18, so you are of full age and understanding. Excuse me to say, I don't mean to disrespect. Full age and understanding means that you are not mentally incapacitated, you are not mad, you've not suffered a stroke, you know what you are saying. You will be held responsible. As for those things that people come to church and say what they have to say, they can say what they like. Those things have implications, and we should pay attention to such things. You cannot make laws and rules as you go along. And it is not for nothing that we go through counseling and we explain these things. Anybody who has gone through premarital counseling knows and understands these things. And I am beginning to worry about how our focus in marriages seems to be shifting to inconsequential things, like how many dresses somebody wants to wear, or how many bridesmaids, is it bridesmaids they are called?
Yes.
Maids of honor, whatever they are called, flower girls, whether the buffet is lit or not lit. Those things are of absolutely no consequence. The entire marriage ceremony hinges on these vows, which are administered in 5 to 10 minutes. That is the marriage ceremony. All other things are inconsequential. And in the same way, when you do the customary marriage, the most important thing, the most important element in a customary marriage is that question that they ask you, Ama, Abna, they have brought A, B, and C from this person's family. Should we accept it? That is the most important question for a customary marriage.
Okay.
And then, so if that is also the reason why in the ordinance marriage, you cannot celebrate an ordinance marriage by proxy. In the customary marriage, because it is family marrying family, you can send your people to go and perform the rites for you, and it is done. But for the ordinance marriage, it can never be done by proxy. So your brother can't come and stand in your stead and decide to take the vows on your behalf.
But some those in abroad, they allow that.
Never for ordinance marriage.
Okay.
If there is any ordinance marriage where the oath was administered on somebody who is not the party to the marriage, that marriage, I can give you every assurance, is void. It's not even voidable, it's void.
Okay, okay.
It has to be administered and between the parties to the marriage.
Okay.
You cannot have an ordinance marriage by proxy. You can't send somebody to come and bless, stand in your stead and marry I don't know how to. But for customary marriage, it can be done.
Oh,
for
okay.
ordinance, it
Okay.
can never be done.
For ordinance,
It can never be
but
done.
for the customary.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. But why? Okay. Why is it so?
Because of the oath.
Yes.
Because of the vow.
Oh.
This is a vow that nobody can take on your behalf.
No.
Okay.
And I think we should take our time to explain these things to people. So this is not the kind of relationship that you enter and easily get out. Papa's quotation about how the Lord does not suffer fools lightly if they speak. This is something which is very, very important, very serious. And while you are at it, you should also understand that when you have been in this ordinance marriage for less than 2 years, if you go to court and you say you want a divorce, unless you can show very special circumstances, after which you'll be granted leave to even file the divorce, within 2 years, nobody will grant you a divorce. You have to actually go and apply for special leave because of the vow. I don't know how to.
So is it the vow binds?
It is so binding.
Okay.
It is so binding. It's not something you easily get out of.
Okay.
So when sometimes you see someone, why did you stay in it for so long? It's because they are bound to stay unless it is impossible for them to continue to stay.
Also,
Yes, to add to it, you see, God intended marriage to be a permanent union. You know, he doesn't think that at one point he will break it. And that is why Jesus said, what God has put together, let no man, and that man means a female man or a male man, you know, should put asunder. And that is how it should be. It should be permanent. And so when you are entering into marriage, you don't enter into it, you know, lightly, thinking that, oh, I'll just go and try and see, and then if it doesn't work, I know I'm getting out of it. It is not like that. You see, people sometimes want to enter into marriage for the wrong reasons. Then some of the reasons that are wrong is the wedding is fine. So they love the beauty of the wedding, and
like the way I've won my fascinating
wonderful.
the way I'm looking.
Yeah, looking bright. I'm from play. I'm from me. You know, they like that, but they don't know that wedding is easy. But to hold on to the marriage is another matter. Some people also enter in because they want property. You know. Cars, buildings, and even money. That is what draws them. And some people too, they want it because they want sexual pleasure.
Okay.
You see, by all means. You see, and others too because they want to travel. You know, some people marry photographs. He has not seen the man before, he has not seen the woman before. They show him or her the photograph. Oh, she's looking fine, or looking fine, okay, let me marry. Just because the person is in a brochure. So she thinks that, or he thinks that, you know, going to a brochure is, you know, something foreign. But he enters in only to realize that, no, this is not a place for me. And that is why it is said that you should enter into marriage thoughtfully.
Okay.
Know what you are doing, so that the talk about separation and divorce will be remote to marriage. You read Malachi 2:16.
Exactly.
God states categorically over there, I hate divorce. So why do you do things that God hates? So when you are going in, and it is so done so that people will not just walk out of marriage for flimsy excuses. You know, things that they could easily talk about and settle. They wouldn't want to, but they would take the escapist, you know, route, you know, into solving their problems, and that is not the best. So let us let people who are watching us understand that once you commit, you say the marriage vows, then you must know that you are in for a permanent relationship until God until death do you separate.
Yeah. So is it possible that couples can remain faithful upon all this? Sometimes it got to a show be cash a hikwe, be a banakaye, keke muko fe, a womita mabiaka, a banya fe possible like a couple of banya, a yimia, ukata nagbe, and this in it with the
Why not?
Yes.
Why not? At least if you have not seen anybody who has married for long, I am an example. I am an example. You know, I've been married for 37 years.
Hey.
So what is saying? I'm still going, and I'm hoping that if we are going to stay to 100 years, we'll be married. You know. By all means, what you're saying.
But so, to be honest,
yes.
Our dear, me do software. Me do baby, I just turned 26 in April. Now, the way I see it, it takes a certain mindset. It takes a certain mindset that this is a decision I have made. It takes not only my determination, but the determination of my spouse to understand. As for Malachi, if you look at the 2:13 and 14, and the second thing you do, you cover the Lord's altar with tears, with weeping and groaning, because he no longer regards the offering or accepts it with favor from your hand. But you say, why does he not? Because the Lord was witness between you and the wife of your youth. That is what I really want us to pay attention to. That when we come here and we stand before the altar, and you call upon God and all this here present, you are saying that God should witness what you are coming to do. So you understand that thing at the back. That is how I see it. And I said it. And the other thing is that, for instance, Papa has said that part of the declaration, declaring that you know not of any just cause or impediment why you so and so will not be joined to so and so. It's of great importance, making sure that when you make that declaration, it is actually true. People misrepresent themselves. You know yourself. You say you know not of any just cause or impediment, but you are married already. You have somebody on the side already, whether male or female. These days, the things that we see and hear, you know that you are in a relationship with somebody else already, but you come and say that you know not of any just cause or impediment. You know, for instance, that you are not capable of, what's the word that I should choose? You know you are not capable of doing what a married person should do to make the marriage complete. I don't know. I don't want to use the technical term, but
no, you can.
Use it. You
can, so that
come again.
Yes, that's the thing.
Having sex, Anna.
You know you are not capable of consummating the marriage. For instance, you know you are impotent, or you know that you are a man. You are not attracted to women. So when you are left alone with your wife, you know you can't sleep with her. Mm-hmm. You understand? But you say that I know not of any just cause or impediment. So somebody will actually be married for years. They would not have had sex. That marriage is not a marriage. That is not a marriage. That's for that one. It is. You don't even go and dissolve it. You annul it, because that is a very important aspect of marriage. But like we said, Papa has given many explanations for why people marry. But personally, marriage is not something to be endured for me. Marriage is something to be enjoyed, and it is capable of being enjoyed.
Yeah.
So that is what I would like to say.
Okay.
It is actually possible to stand by your vows and remain in it. I know of many people, but I also know of many other people who are breaching their marriage vows by the day. Many years ago, it was unheard of for a woman to commit adultery. It was unheard of. As for the men, they used to think they have a license. But today, when we meet at work, the kind of things we see, those things are an aberration from the plan of God. That's not what God planned for marriage to be. And please, all of you there, if you don't believe me, ask Auntie Betty. Marriage is something you can stay in admirably, raise godly children, raise godly grandchildren, beautiful generations. It's possible.
It's possible. Yes, Papa wants to.
Maybe, yes, to add to it, not that there would not be issues.
Exactly.
You see, we are all differently brought up. So definitely when you meet together, there might be one or two issues. That is no license for you to just walk away. You know, there are many people who think that it is the responsibility of their partner to make them happy. And so what they can't do for themselves, they are expecting their partner to do for them. And that is where, you know, they go off.
Yeah.
If you read Romans chapter 12, verse 18, it says that as much as depends upon you, not your partner.
Yeah.
Live in peace.
Yeah.
You, not what your partner is going to do,
Yeah.
but what you are going to do to keep the marriage going, to hold on to the marriage. So if you come telling me that you are walking away, it is because you are clothed in hard-heartedness.
Okay.
Because Jesus said, people divorce, they separate because of hard-heartedness. So if you are not hard-hearted, you should be able to find ways and means of solving your problems and then staying peaceably. Marriage, after all, is all about peaceful coexistence.
Peaceful coexistence. In fact, thank you very much. You have really done well. Yes. Sanye, no, Okeshi. It's good. So we would like to give chance to our audience for them to also ask questions. They have a lot, so we'll give them chance. Anyone who is ready, give chance to 4 people to to ask their questions about this topic. So those who are ready, you can give them the mics and then they ask their questions.
Thank you, Ma'am. My question is, my first question will be based on the conclusion Reverend gave. I believe in marriage and this need to, to live in, last in, to make it work. But I would want Reverend to throw more light on it, where he concluded, because we are having a lot of people dying in marriage. And in my opinion, I think the concluding remarks is partly the reason why people are dying in marriage. At all costs, you have to be in. So I would want him to throw light on it, because the rate at which people are dying in marriage, I think there is a misnomer. Thank you.
It's not normal. Okay.
In the first instance, let us bear in mind that marriage was designed by God himself, was engineered. And at the beginning, God said whatever he did was good. Marriage is good. But it is the way we have taken it. So if we are listening to God and we are going by the principles of God, we won't get to where you are speaking about. We won't get there at all. But people say, I know my rights. You are cheating on me, so let me also take vengeance. And then that is where the trouble is. For me, I always say, love covers multitude of sins. So if you have enough love, you should be able to cover the sins. Unless there is a threat of death. If the person threatens you and says that if you don't go, I'll kill you, my friend, you better run for your life. That one, I agree. But if you yourself, the man or the woman says this and you want to retaliate, violence begets violence. But if God is saying that as much as possible, stay peacefully with your neighbor, and your husband or your wife is your neighbor, and you are doing that, I don't think the marriage will be stressful. Let us bear in mind that God gave us rules to follow in marriage so that we can live peaceably in marriage.
Also, for sometimes the man.
I want to express a difference of opinion.
Okay.
So our family law lecturer, the Venerable Mr. Kwame Tete, when he was teaching us family law when I was in law school in 95 or so, he used to say something that when the marriage is celebrated, then the Osofo will say, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. Then he asked another question. What if God did not put it together? And then it was a debate we had in family law class. But truth be told, you see, for a long time, we always used to see violence or abuse in marriage as physical violence. These days, we know that abuse is of different kinds, and that it is not always physical. Abuse can be something other than physical. Emotional abuse can be more telling. Emotional abuse can be more hurtful than if the person beats you up. My mic. So please, what I would say is this. I think that since I became a judge, I have learned that one of the most important things that anybody should ever learn is to determine matters on a case-by-case basis. That looking at the circumstances of the case. Because, for instance, adultery is forgivable by some people. For some people, that is an unforgivable boundary that you have crossed. So even if we meet, and I know that this week we are preaching on forgiveness, and I always ask the Osofos and the people who go to men's fellowship that when they meet and they are calculating, they will tell you that Jesus said that we should forgive 70 times 7. I mean, the meaning man so mean to me work it. Who is calculating? But the truth of the matter is that this person who is saying that they must forgive adultery 70 times 7 times is the one who is not ready to forgive one incident of adultery in a wife and vice versa. What are people clapping for? It all depends on what you think you can live with. And you see, over time I have learned that things are changing. There is a lot more to the marital life than meets the eye. That is what I think I can say without crossing too many boundaries. Because the nature of the work here in the church and also as a judge exposes us to a lot of things that 25 or 26 years ago when I got married, it was even never an issue. 26 years ago when I got married, I knew that washing is a woman's job, cooking is a woman's job. My husband has never lifted his tray, even though that kind of thing. But what about people who live abroad, who are sharing bills? Because me too, when I married, I never imagined that school fees is a woman's job, or chop money and bills is a woman's job. We had very dry, well established and well cut out roles. These days things are changing. So let's look at them on a case-by-case basis. I would not say that unless the man is threatening you with death or a woman is threatening you with death, stay. Because I have also seen, Papa, somebody who is quiet, innocuous, not causing any trouble, putting poison in food for another person to eat. And when you would the person never threatened. The person never did anything to show that so you look at it on a case-by-case basis. That is not to say that the marriage vow is something you take lightly at all. I would be misadvising anyone if I told you that I do not treasure the institution of marriage, because everybody knows I do. But I'm not going to die in it. Let me give you an example. Years ago, we were having a conversation and my roommate was asking me, hey, you, the way you are behaving, if I die, you won't cry. I said, how will I not cry? I will cry. Because even if you lose a pet, you can see that you've lost something. Not to talk about a spouse. I will cry. But me can't say me no beko. And no dear no. You know, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And then everybody knows I'm a mad person. I'm not correct, you know. But that kind of thing. Me can't say me no beko. But I think we should deal with it on a case-by-case basis. If somebody comes and says, my husband has committed adultery, and the man says, show me the woman with whom I committed adultery, and you can't show the woman, but you can show a man, is that not adultery the same way?
You can show a man?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Oh, so full.
You can show a man.
For instance, somebody comes and says, I'm not ready to marry my husband anymore.
Right.
Because he has not been faithful to me. Then the man says, show me the woman I had the affair with. She cannot show a woman with whom he had the affair. But he can show a man.
The man who had an affair.
Yes, the man had an affair with another man. Is that not adultery?
Well, of course, that's one.
But we would not, this our law did not even imagine it.
Yes.
Oh, having an affair.
The law did not imagine it.
So that you are talking about gay.
All sorts of things are happening. I have seen a man travel, come home. He says he was coming to surprise his wife. Came to meet the wife with her lesbian partner in the room. Is that adultery or not?
Well, that is lesbianism.
It's adultery.
Well, okay. If the legal people say so,
it is still a sexual relationship outside of the marriage. So, but he hasn't beaten you.
No. You see, Jesus, if you read Matthew, Jesus says something that you should not put away your partner except for adultery, infidelity. So if there is adultery and you say because of that you want to part company with your partner, scripture will not, fault you. Even though people will advise you to do better than just walking away. And forgiveness also means repentance. Mm-hmm. And if the person has truly repented, he will not continue doing it. You see, that is why you read 1 John chapter 3, verse 9. Mm-hmm. It says that whoever the seed of God dwells in, whoever has the Spirit of God dwelling in him or her, will not intentionally commit sin.
Yeah.
Will not. Something that he or she knows that it is wrong, he wouldn't do it. You know that adultery is wrong. You have the Spirit of God dwelling in you. You won't do it. Okay, if you've done it once, and then it is by mistake, you do it again, it is intentional. They said the first fool is not a fool. But the second fool is a big one. The first instance is coincidence, but the second one is planned.
Yes.
So, I would want to say that if we are really listening to God and going with the word of God, we wouldn't get to the point where we would say we are separating. The truth is that people are not going with the word of God. They are in the church, they are praying, they are singing, they are dancing, but their lives do not conform with the word of God. Yeah. And that is why we are having all these instances.
Yeah, that is why, yes. And we have some questions here. Online, yes. And I have a call here for. He said, how do we make our ladies understand that the marriage hinges on the vows? More often than not, it is the lady that pushes for all the flashy things we currently see in marriages. Did you get it, sir?
Yes.
Yes. You see, when in premarital counseling, I often tell people that love brings us together. And then what we see and hear. The man says, the beautiful lady, so he's attracted. The woman also hears beautiful things, so she's attracted. But beyond that, we need emotional stability. Where you can control your tongue, you can control your anger, your temper. These two things. If you can do that. And when your marriage has been stabilized, you can now communicate and then decide what is good for the two of you. You see, when communication is missing in marriage, it brings suspicion and even emotional separation. We are talking about very things. Why don't you sit down and say that now the world view of courtship and friendship is different from the world view of marriage. In courtship, we are doing jolly. But in marriage, it is real business.
Yes.
We are looking after children. We are looking after household, responsibilities.
Yeah.
So we cannot be doing this and that. Extra money cannot be used for materialism. Or extra money cannot be used for adventurous, escapades. Or what do you say? Things like that. But you now come down to fashion out the norms for your marriage.
Okay.
The do's and don'ts. Is it okay to do this? Yes or no? A married person should do this and that. Yes or no? So once you are able to outline what is okay to be done and what is not okay to be done between the two of you, I think this issue should be solved.
Okay.
And to add to that, I think the ceremonies we are seeing these days, they are out of hand. Way out of hand. I wish we would understand as young people and the young ladies that the wedding is not the marriage. Exactly. The wedding is not the marriage. Exactly. The wedding is not the marriage. How many times have I said it? The wedding is not the marriage. Yeah. The whole idea of putting yourself out so much, stressing yourself over a ceremony, taking out all your savings and taking out a loan for a 10-minute event does not make any sense. Particularly when you know you are not in a position to do it. And I think I've had this discussion with you before.
Yeah.
Please, do what you can.
Ever.
Do what you can. Wear what you can. Eat what you can. If you cannot eat too, people should go home. The event is just for an hour. Or is it up to an hour? An hour or an hour and a half? And no, just say, yeah, sorry. If you are not late, Nasi Yeba Besheha Numana for your program, no. Preaching count 15 minutes. Yes, she's shining in night. She said the IFS service an hour and a half. Yapon. If you don't give people food, Quran, what will they do? They will insult you a little bit, but that is how. I mean, it is not. That is no. But if anybody is bold enough to insult you in your face, they will only say it behind your back. And if they've only said it behind your back, what's your wahala? All these things that we are doing, it's amazing to me how much people are ready to spend on marriage, money they do not have. Me, my problem is that you don't have it. It's the beginning of your life. It's not as if, personally, I was having a discussion with someone recently. The rings I'm wearing now, they are not what I wore when I was getting married 26 years ago. That's not it. The dress, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. I don't even know what became of it. And all that. So I would always encourage the kind of pressure the young ladies are putting on the young men and the young men are putting on themselves. I don't get it.
Fashion.
It's unnecessary.
You see, that is why in the vow we say to have
And to hold.
and to hold. To have is, represents the ceremony,
Okay.
the weddings and but the real issue is to hold. Hold on to the marriage, for as long as you people should live. And so, as my sister said, during the wedding time, or for the wedding, you should look at options that you can accommodate within your finances.
Okay.
Like she said, we also in our time, we had somebody to give us, of course, we didn't have all this good counseling, we had someone, and we did, is it 3-tier or 5-tier cake, After that day, we put the thing into the fridge, we never ate one.
Wow.
After 1 year, we threw it away.
Me too. We threw it away.
Waste. You see, waste.
Yeah.
So, look at options. And maybe I could speak about the book that I've written.
Okay.
And in it, I've suggested some alternatives that, people can consider if they want to reduce the costs,
Is some here?
Yes.
Please,
I think
please,
so
we are
we
very
should.
interested.
Yes.
Very interested.
And we are saying that, as she said, cut your coat according to your size or according to your cloth, whatever it is, whatever you call it, your material or whatever. Cut it.
Yeah.
Don't go and borrow money. In fact, I was sad to hear of a story where the two, used all their savings to
For the wedding.
for the wedding, and they rented a house. Now they can't pay the rent,
How?
and they are being kicked out of the house.
Oh.
Meanwhile, they have one child,
Oh.
and now they don't know where to go. You see, so for lack of better word, let us be wise.
Let us be wise. Yes. I have with me here Atimbila Gilbert Moses. Oh, okay. He is rather congratulating us. He said he's enjoying it. So he's thanking us. Yes. Thank you to him. And Koheford again say, can the marriage vows be well explained to couples during counseling?
It is.
Yes.
It is usually.
Yes.
I think during counseling, the vows are taken once you've gone through the counseling, and you are about to maybe a week or two to time, you will go through it line by line, and so that one is done.
Yeah.
It is done. Even in our time, that counseling was not as structured. Even then, they will take you through the vows for you to understand exactly what you are letting yourself in for.
And in my book, Candidates for Marriage, I've also taken time to explain every phrase of the vow.
Oh, okay.
So and that is part of the pre-marital counseling syllabus.
Okay.
So that you can understand, what
I'm
you
going
are
to buy
about
some
to
and give to
say.
yourself. When people are about to
I
get
think
married,
it's
you should give it to them. I'm going to buy as many as I can.
Yeah.
When people are ready,
Yes, you give
when
it.
you are about going through counseling,
Yeah.
they should have it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
I'll
yeah,
give all
so-
of you. Don't
yeah.
worry.
Yeah.
Look at those people over there.
Oh, they have that one. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Doc. You have really enlightened us. In fact, this marriage vows, you have to take it very serious. You have to, listen or watch this program again and learn more, because they have really educated us. Where. Yeah, yesterday I was telling a young man that today's program, make sure you and your partner, you watch this program, because I'm not going to explain anything to you again. Watch this and learn so that you know what you're about to say to your partner. It's very, very important. Okay. Yes, we give it to our brother.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mommy, for the opportunity and the discussion. I'm learning a lot. Thank you very much.
Do you bring a lot? Yes.
My question is in
Yes,
this form.
please. Let's show
it to them.
Yes, let Mama
If the Bible is saying that there is no marriage in heaven, why are we stressing ourselves so much on marriage on earth? Yeah, because when we look at the ordinance, the marriage under the ordinance, for the church, it is creating a problem. And the problem that is creating is that we are having men who have the tendency to go for more women, but because of the ordinance, they don't. So what they do is that they have girlfriends on the side. Whereas in other areas that the men are free, they don't have that kind of situation.
So before you land, let me ask you.
You
think you are the only ones who find people attractive outside of your marriage, eh? That's what you think.
Yes.
Why do you think that there should be no reciprocity? That if the men want to have people outside marriage, then it will be free for all. Oh, all of us, we should look for a side man.
Side chick. They call it side chick.
Side men. Is that it? You see, as for me, I blame the church. The church should be disciplining those who have been committing adultery.
Yeah.
If you are a leader, you step down. Yeah, you were the two are saying, then they will stop. Nobody should glorify adultery in any shape or form.
No.
It is inexcusable. If you think that the wife is not pretty, I can give you every assurance that you are also not as handsome as you were when I married you, but I'm still marrying you. You look at you. We have given you food. You have developed pot bellies. You didn't have pot belly before. We are living with you. There is no excuse. Nobody has a tendency. A human being, excuse me to say, it's not an animal. Nobody has a tendency to do something. Let me ask you this question. I know adultery happens everywhere. But what happens with black people? I want to ask this question because we seem to have lost focus. When people are creating generations and doing things, planning how to create aeroplanes, spaceship, all those things, people are planning. Black men are looking for how to marry more women. That's all they are thinking about. Is that it?
No.
The moment somebody is succeeding a little, this person, the moment somebody is succeeding a little, the person makes a little bit of money. The person wants to marry more women. For what?
Okay, I want to add to it that, yes, if you are a Christian, you are supposed to bear the fruit of the Holy Spirit. And one of them is self-control. So no matter how the edge comes, you should be able to control. Exercise that fruit called self-control. Otherwise, you are a hypocrite. You see, then you are being hypocritical. You are saying one thing, but you are doing another thing. So exercise self-control. And we men, as the saying goes, it is our eyes that worry us. But you must learn to discipline your eyes. Job says that I have made a covenant with my eyes that I will not look upon a virgin twice. Because he knows that looking upon a virgin several times could lead him into several things. So you as a man should also be able to make a covenant with your eyes because of the Lord Jesus, that you are not going to go into these things. And if you really say to yourself, you are not going to do it, you won't do it. Because some of us could testify with our lives. And as I keep saying, I have been married for 37 years. Even before then, I have never known any other woman apart from my wife, Beatrix.
Please, have you people
Nobody
heard?
else.
Have you heard? Have you people heard?
So it is possible, to remain focused and stay with your wife or your your spouse only.
Only.
Okay.
Only. Only you.
I didn't
Stay
even
with
let
your
you land.
spouse.
Yeah.
Only.
You see,
Only.
that's very good.
So,
Thank you very much.
This is
Thank
the
you very
book.
much.
This is the book that Osofo Olenu has written. It's very, very good. I glanced through, and the topics is very, very good. Candidate for marriage. If you are a candidate, come and buy one. Candidate! Oh, I have a lot of candidates, oh, Charlie. So please, kindly get one of this. What yana? To way back, BBA, BWOM. Questions ni na, one sending na, dito. BBA, ya kama. So what you say? To be a better. Yes.
Yes, you were saying something. He has another. He hasn't. He's not yet done.
Mommy, you know, the reason why I brought this up was that when Jesus spoke to the apostles about the conditions around marriage, they all said, then who can do this? And he told them that this is not for everybody. Then he made an example about the eunuch. Some are born eunuchs, some are made eunuchs. You know, he gave those examples. The reason is that we have forced the ordinance system on our people. But
Nobody has. No, I won't let you say these things in a forum like this. Nobody forces you to marry under the ordinance.
Okay.
Nobody forced you to marry under the ordinance. Okay. Look at me.
Okay.
If somebody wants to marry me, my condition is that I will marry under the ordinance. Okay. If you want to marry me under the ordinance. If you want to marry somebody else under customary law, that is not my problem. It is the woman you are going to marry who will determine how she wants to be married. I will not say that somebody has forced anything on anybody. I am saying even in Islamic societies where they have the freedom to marry 4 women, many of them still opt to marry 1 woman. I have classmates who are real alajis who took their wives to the registrar general and married them under our ordinance.
Wow.
Nobody forces you to marry a woman under the ordinance. What you have to do is to make your choice. If you find a woman who is ready to marry you under customary law, which is potentially polygamous, that is her call, that's her choice. But as for me, let me say this for the record. None of my daughters will marry under customary law. Nobody. I'm saying it because the whole idea of a potentially polygamous marriage is abhorrent to me. So nobody has forced you. If you want to marry under customary law, please go ahead, marry under customary law. Don't add on the ordinance. But if you do decide to marry under the ordinance, then all the incidents will apply to you. And if you like, marry under the ordinance and decide that you want to marry another woman, I will personally have you arrested. Don't play.
So on that, yes. Osofo is here. Osofo,
you see,
Christians.
No, let me add to. You see, you have decided to be a Christian. You have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. Or you want to turn back. And so you want to marry like a Christian. So all the time what I say is that if you want to marry a Christian marriage, then you go by what Jesus said and you keep to that. And Jesus said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. One. So whether you marry,
this one is Christian marriage.
Yes, Christian marriage.
Okay.
So whether it is ordinance or it is customary, once you are a Christian and you want to follow Jesus, then Jesus' instruction for marriage is that you should be joined to one woman or one man. If you go outside that, it means you are not following what Jesus is saying.
Okay.
And so you will be labeled as a disobedient child.
Okay.
And that is not what you want to be. Christian marriage cuts across whether it is ordinance or it is customary. Jesus says one man, one woman. That is all. So even if you marry under the customary law and you are a Christian, Jesus will expect you to live with only one spouse. Thank you.
But the thing is that in addition to that, the ordinance marriage gives you backing. So I would always advise people, rather than to have a customary marriage, calling people, putting up canopy, making noise, you can have a small customary marriage and even smaller ordinance marriage. As for me, I know I wanted to marry under the ordinance. I didn't care whether it was in the chapel or at the registry with 4 people or whatever it was. I wanted blue and white paper or green and white paper. That's all I wanted, because of the protection. And if I should, that is a subject for another day. But if we should tell you the challenges of multiple marriages and the issues relating to things like spousal property, if you decide you want to share, when are you sharing? Within when first one came in or when second came? All sorts of confusions. The whole idea, and in any case, as same way they make a tree. Pacho, our do any jamedro. Our do any jamedro. I hope you understand tree. Our do any jamedro. Can you say Kalaji and San Confasaiche? And no one say, our do any jamedro. If somebody is flighty and the person has a tendency to be jumping from woman to woman, I have seen men marry 5 wives, 8 wives, 10 wives, still on your pay. There be so why?
Yeah, that's what Osofo said. You have to have self-control. And also fruit, you know. It's in your self-control. It's an owner, self-control. It's an owner also pressing near zero. It's an ebangwe. Naka is an ofe.
No, we have. He can hear for no you chon men your fair.
Naka ye le men am a few le.
It was fair and 0-0. Low key.
Zero tolerance.
I will go when I brought any a year say. Moko Kweba, who said what? Who has been married? Okay, it was C and A couple who has been married for years, and the lady knows fully well that your partner is having an affair outside the marriage, but does the opposite? Now we have right in India, but does the opposite at home close not have? Baba,
let me see.
But you're not a teacher.
My question is, as a couple who have been married for years and you the lady know fully well that your partner is having an affair outside the marriage, but does the opposite at home and does not have time for you, which is making you feel like he is tired of the marriage. You have seen all the green lights for months down the line, no intimacy, but you both are still together, maltreats you, disrespects you, verbal abuse. You wish you were out, but due to the vows, how long do you have to sacrifice into the union? Should you still continue in the agony or move out? Some catch us me a teacher.
Oh, teacher, teacher, one
do you still
I think that maybe, like she said, every case should be treated on its own merit. So for such a case, maybe they could seek professional help, where the two of them could be, taken through counseling, and then their pertinent issues are addressed, so that they can understand themselves. So for some of the cases, it requires professional assistance.
Because so. My audience, please give it out for them. They have really done well. Yes. So you give us your final words. Any advice? What do you want to tell us about all this whole thing that we have talked about?
What I want to say is this. First of all, The institution of marriage is something that you enter with great circumspection. Great circumspection. Don't rush into it. Don't be pressured into it. We may pressure you because you think, we ask you, haven't you met anyone, that kind of thing. It does not mean that you should rush into it. But when you do stand here at the altar and you take the vows as we are led to take, understand that it has serious legal and spiritual implications. And on that note, please, those of you who are still single, you have the opportunity to make choices. Pray. That's all I can say. Because you have the opportunity, those of us who are in it, but you have the opportunity to make choices. Pray very fervently and let God lead you before you enter into the marriage. And I trust that all will be well. Thank you very much.
I also want to say that marriage is good.
Marriage is good.
It's good.
At the year.
Because God says so. He says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor from the Lord. And research have shown that those who are in stable marriages, they live longer. And, they are able to cope with stresses everywhere more than those who are not. And the marriage vows are crafted to help us, navigate the journey of marriage very well. It is made to give us something to stand on to behave well. Because human beings, we will not do what is expected, but we'll do what will be inspected. Okay. See, two things.
Yeah.
You expect the person to do this, he won't do it. But when the person knows that you are coming to inspect it, the person will do it well. So the marriage vow is like something to help us have in mind that God will come around inspecting. So we should do what is expected of us. It is to guide us, and it is to make us focus on the goodness of marriage. I'll be there for you no matter what happens. That is the summary of the whole vow. I'll be there for you come what may. That is what it is. And if both man and woman, wife and husband are going by this, there should be peace in the marriage.
There should be peace in the marriage. Yes. Thank you once again, Papa. We are grateful. And so, again, the book Candidate for Marriage is here. If you want some, contact us or come to rpkdmmc. You get a copy. It's a very, 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 very good material. Yes, come. We'll give you one. If you come here, we'll give you them. Also for oh. Oh, no, but he's a big man. Yeah, and no too more in fact. You don't know about it, then check the attorney, that neighbor, our daddy. Oh, I know you're a dog. That job. Next, I can watch a work away. No, but fat away. Thank you so much. We are grateful.
Shida Kobe.
Just a wolf and me follow up course to be ample. Me fret now, me want to say, oh, Mommy, Thank you so much.
Bless you.
Thank you so much. Sipa se epo sumadi kra.
Hey, soft man.
Me pa chowo. Wo hu me style. Mami fa me book into ho. How do you check me? Me who are fe Miche Bex Classics. Hey, Bex Classics. Omo ena ye che fe di mami. Ono na ono. Oh yeah, Bex Classics. They deal in hats, bouquet, fascinators. Their contacts are there, so you can contact Bex Classics, and some of these. It's not expensive. It's not expensive, so you can get some. And this dress, have you seen the way? Check me. Oh my God! Oh, baby, you can see it's looking good on me. Mary Clothing. She sewed it, and the material. It is my own mocho who gave me the cloth, and then Bex sewed it for me. So beautiful. Yes, so you can, yes. The shoe, my own collection now. But my husband bought it for me. Yes. So when we started this program, it was Portia who was sponsoring us. It is a church's program. The churches does everything, but individuals here also decided to help us. And ever since we started, she's the one. But now we've gotten a lot of them sponsoring us. And so today I have Poshke, as you know, her number is 02417 89348. That's Poshke. You can contact her. It has all the Parazone, bleach, and everything. You can contact her on her number. The number is on the screen, so whenever you need some, he does cleaning and everything. You can contact her. And then you have Bex Classics, and then Tilly's Cuisine. She also provided us with pastries, nice ones. Bring it. Let me show it to my viewers and my audience for them to see what Tilly also does. If you want pastries, if you are at your wedding, whatever naming, you can contact Tilly on 0549 2310 0308. You can contact her. And then I have Emmy's Collection. Emmy's Collection also sponsored us. Anyone who is here present will have drinks and then pastries, biscuits. Emmy also sponsored us. And yes, and then Mary's Clothing. Mary Jewu, as you can see in my dress. If I Sunday, my shirt, my sanswash. Thank you all for sponsoring us. And so we are calling in for more sponsorship. We are cameras, our data, our microphones. We want a whole lot of things. If you want to sponsor, kindly come to the church office or call my number, and then we'll show you what to do. Thank you very much. You've been a good audience. And so on our production team, I have our director, Baba Ejima Oredo Ejo. Yes, he was there. And then I have Solomon Tete, Ishmael Kwashi, Charles Bride Dawson. They are part of the production team. And then on the camera, Augustina Pia, she's here, and Joshua Ambo, Francis Quay. The original Francis is also here in our process. Jonathan Aye, you can see the background looking good. Our sound, Enoch Tetekwaku, also check the sounds for us. Church, we want to thank you all. Our audience, beautiful audience here, we want to thank you. Our stewards are here. The stewards, the original stewards, international stewards, they are here. Yes, our leaders are here. Osafo is here. The whole church is here. Thank you all very much. May the Lord bless each and every one of us. I am your host, Felicia Akushi. Bye-bye.